Hey 918ers, it's Geek Boy, and I'm coming to you live from the ultra secret secure fan cave located in parts unknown and yet still right here in the 918. I want to welcome everyone to tonight's broadcast of this fantastic week where, this is where we use our platform to discuss the biggest genre and fandom news stories from the past few days. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in, as well as those who may be watching at a little later time. Thank you again for choosing to spend your time with us. After all, it is the one thing you will never get back. So for all of you who choose to spend some of it on us, believe me, it is not a matter that we take lightly. As a result, we are doubly honored when any of you take the time to, leave a like, comment on, or share on any of our content. And while our main presence is still going to be right here on Facebook, we also have a YouTube channel that serves as a bit of a repository for these broadcasts, as well. It's kind of where we use put a lot of our more produced segments, and we're building that up. We've made that our goal in 2020. So please subscribe to that as well if you are not already, because we've been charging ahead on the directive that we set for ourselves to increase our content this year. And for those who follow us pretty regularly, or if you're pretty astute, you may have already seen an uptick in our output. As we mentioned last week, our good friend Mr. Goldar continues to push through the Resident Evil game on Fanboys 918 Saturday night video gaming segment called Night Crawlers. That's a show that he created and produces himself. He's doing a fantastic job there. We also had some great surprise programming dropped this past Sunday from the Wonder Midget and Jay the Blues Man, who, by the way, has been released from Night Shift Hell. They did a great Father's Day tribute this past week, and we've got a lot more to come from them. We also have word that in the coming weeks, the commander himself will be on deck. That's right, Mr. Narwhal, the man who generates all of our video motion graphics, and by the way, has some great stuff in the pipeline that we're probably going to start dropping here probably next week. He is the leader of the 918 Northern Command Post, and he is preparing a segment of his own as well. Now, he's still trying to kind of decide what shape it's going to take, what it's going to look like. But trust me, folks, no matter what he lands on, you're not going to be disappointed. And I am certainly not disappointed tonight, because joining me in the chat tonight is my longtime friend, the cross-platform crown prince, the Dean Martin of the data center, the viceroy of virtualization. Men want to be him, and women want to be with him. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the IT Geek. That's right.
That's right. Hey, thanks for that great introduction, as always. Appreciate everything you said there. And man, I got to give a shout out to Goldar. Yeah, he is killing it on that Resident Evil 3 game. Keep up the great work. Shout out to Jay the Bluesman and Wonder Midget. The Father's Day special episode was just fantastic. And man, I'm so stoked about how much content we're generating and being able to deliver to our fan base. 499, man, we're so close to that 500 limit. Not limit. I don't want to make sure it's not limitations. Goal of 500 in the 2020 year, and I think the pandemic, though it's hit, may have actually helped us a little bit, because when you can't go outside, who are you going to watch? That's right, you're going to watch us, because we're just a good old time.
That's right. Of course, we are kind of indoor guys as it is anyway. But
this is true.
And I honestly, I have not created any fake Facebook accounts and followed us. I've not done any of that.
Right.
As much as it's been tempted for me to do that.
I know.
Hey, looks like Mr. Narwhal himself is in the chat room tonight. So
welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We didn't quite get time enough to download the new countdown clock, but trust me, that will be first on deck next week.
Definitely.
So
man, okay, you say that and everything, and I gotta kind of hype it up some more, man. This thing is phenomenal. I mean, if anything, you may not want to come back and watch us again, but you at least got to tune in to watch this countdown segment that Mr. Narwhal's created. It is just phenomenal. This is like high quality. I mean, like
we legit
here. I think it's like put us to a level that maybe we need to have our own TV station. I don't know.
Possibly.
We got Greg joining us. Greg Elpers is joining us. Hey, welcome, Greg. So I mean, man, I'm excited for everyone to see it. And so, yes, like I said, if you're not going to see it tonight, we're going to clean it. We're going to make sure it's going to run, without any problems.
Yeah.
And I say that kind of with a wink because, it wouldn't be a Fanboys 918 episode if we didn't have some hiccup. So, and knock on wood, we have not had one yet.
Not yet, but the evening is young.
That's right.
The evening is young.
The evening is young and my glass is full. So,
that's right. Plenty of time for things to go wrong.
Exactly.
So, hey, IT Geek. So, our brand is, this is going to be kind of a weird episode because our brand is typically fun.
Yes.
But this is one of those times where a lot of the big topics that dropped this past week were actually not fun.
Right. I mean,
but I promise that we're going to close out on a high note.
Exactly.
But that being said, let's get to the first unfortunate topic that we have. What's first up on the recap tonight?
Well, as we all witnessed on the Facebook pages that basically we lost Ian Holm. That's right, Mr. Bilbo Baggins passed away this week, and I tell you right now, there couldn't have been anyone sadder in my house than my wife, the Queen, to see the passing of poor old Bilbo.
Really, she was that upset, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, I personally, and she can defend herself, but I think she likes Bilbo, way more than Frodo. Now, and now, of course, I think she likes the Lord of the Rings trilogy better than the Hobbit trilogy, but she likes Martin Freeman's Bilbo version. But we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Ian. And so again, we got to give our props and respect out to him. I mean, all in all, this was a great actor, versatile actor. He's been in some. Man, I had totally forgotten until we started kind of delving into his history background of what all he's been in, and I had totally forgotten that he was in the Alien movie.
Oh my gosh, shame on you.
I know, man. He's just become so, ingrained with me of being Bilbo that I just totally blanked that he was in Aliens, and I was just like, wow, man. I shame on me as a fan. Yeah, to forget that and everything. Yeah. So, but I mean, he's been on so many other parts that, I mean, you can't just say, well, he was Bilbo and he was an Alien. I mean, there's just so many he's been associated with. But
like a lot of actors, I mean, he's a British actor.
Yes.
Everyone knows that. He started off on the stage like most of them did doing Shakespeare. I mean, that's kind of the, whereas, you've got a lot of different tracks here in the U.S. Usually for Britain. You go to the Royal Shakespeare Company, you go to a drama school, and if you're lucky to get on with the Royal Shakespeare Company, then you start on the stage and you just kind of work your way around. And, I was doing some research on his life, and he actually delayed his graduation from drama school by about 2 years because he took some different trips to different countries to perform in their productions and whatnot. And I got to looking back, and of course, it was his performance as Ash in Alien that brought him to my attention, which I think is probably most people.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, he was in so many things. He was in Chariots of Fire,
yes.
And he was in Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan. And he was, he did so many. He was in Brazil. I mean, for God's sake, I forgot he was in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And, he did, there were so many things that he did. Yes. So, I mean, he really did a lot of things that people don't remember or don't think. And I guess it's because he's such a good actor. He just becomes the role that he's in. I mean, I forgot he was in that Johnny Depp movie From Hell. The one about Jack the Ripper.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting because, and especially since you said you forgot he was Ash. I forgot he was Bilbo because I so identify him with Ash. I mean, that to me, like I say, that's the performance that put him on the map for, my generation anyway. Mm-hmm. And of course, once you've seen Alien once, the jig is up. You kind of know what the surprise is for his character. I'm not going to ruin it for the 5 people who might be watching that haven't seen Alien.
Exactly.
But I watch Alien at least twice a year. Okay. Right. At least twice a year. And it never ceases to amaze me, again, knowing what that character is. Watching, every time I watch it, I notice a new little tick or a little nuance that he does to tip you off of that character's ultimate nature. That he's not quite right. But there's just something a little bit off about it. And it's just, and the other thing too that I think also works really well with when he does his Bilbo performance in certain scenes is his character of Ash is very, for the most part, for the first third of the movie, he's very inflammable. He's very accommodating.
Right.
He's very soft-spoken and very helpful. But you get the hint that just behind those eyes, he can barely stand every single person in this room. It's like, I'm tolerating you. That's the best I can do. But yet, outwardly, you know, he tries to give that appearance of being unflappable. And then, of course, when he goes a little berserk, you know, just some of the acting choices he made, like trying to stick a magazine in her mouth. Right. It's like, what was that all about? So I'm sorry, I've rambled on a little too long. So
I was like, whoa, he's got some thoughts here tonight, people.
I really do, because I mean, it's such a unique character, you know, and again, and I'm sure most actors. There's a lot of actors that we talked about. No matter what type of work they've done, no matter how deep it is, they're always going to be remembered for one or two characters. You know, Harrison Ford's going to be forever remembered as Han Solo in Indiana Jones.
Right.
Patrick Stewart's forever going to be remembered as Picard and Professor X. And and I think that, you know, again, not too bad to be remembered for characters people love.
Exactly. No, I agree. Yeah, you know, you almost would think, you know, not being a professional actor as these have been fortunate to be, is like you really hope for a career like that. I would think that to be acknowledged and remembered by endearing characters that you've had the opportunity to play, the work that you've left behind, and the fans that will remember you. And you know, and it's not to say that if you forgot they were in a movie about this, it's just that, you know, when these actors, when they have these moments where they just become ingrained with a certain character, and it's a nice flashback in your memory that, hey, you know, he was Bilbo, he was Ash, you know, he was the priest from Fifth Element. You know, it just is, to me, I think it would warm the heart of any actor just to be remembered by specific roles and stuff. Absolutely. And hopefully we can continue to remember him, assuming that none of his content gets pulled down, which leads us into our next story. Yes.
Which actually, this story actually kind of dropped I think the day we were going to go on. And we decided, well, let's kind of see how this plays out, and, you know, do a little bit more research on it before we go out and start, you know, rambling off and find out we're really talking out of our ass, because we do enough of that anyway.
Exactly.
But the story I'm talking about, it's actually two different stories, but they kind of mingle together. One is because of everything that's going on in the world, we've seen a lot of streaming services, content providers start putting content warnings in the descriptions of their films. And to me, it's ridiculous to the point that the content warning, there's more. The content warning is bigger than the description of what the film's about. Like I think in the rotating slides we have here, we actually had the one for Aliens that is actually on a service in the UK. And I mean, it's got about a 2 or 3 sentence description of how, warning, this could be hazardous to your sensibilities. It's a blockbuster starring Sigourney Weaver about an alien. I mean, it's like, if you don't know what the movie's about.
Right. Well, you know, and what kind of cracks me up about this is that these are movies that a majority of us have probably already seen.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you come across Blazing Saddles, my God, you better have seen that already, because I mean, it is such a movie classic, and you just can't sit there and like now put this warning content, because I mean, there's just so much stuff. I mean, they've aired that stuff like on TBS, and they've tried to eliminate as much as they can in the sensibility of not trying to offend viewers, you know, according to their guidelines and everything. But again, you know, as any true Mel Brooks fan would know what Blazing Saddles is, and some of his other, you know, great comedic masterpieces, Young Frankenstein. It's just you can't sit here and throw this warning label out there now and go like, okay, this should be good. I mean, at this point, I just don't see a sense in it, in the means that, what's this really going to achieve?
It's not going to achieve anything. All these are trigger warnings for people that have no coping mechanism or very delicate coping mechanisms. They're always looking. These are the people that scream the loudest. And to me, it exposes some hypocrisy, not necessarily on the parts of the people that are screaming for it, but the services that are kowtowing and doing it. I mean, let's talk about the two biggest ones that okay, Faulty Towers.
Right.
Okay. The episode called The Germans, if any, was taken down off the BBC streaming service. And I want to emphasize the BBC's streaming service because I'm going to get there in a second when I talk about hypocrisy. So for those that don't know, Faulty Towers aired in the early to mid 70s. It was the brainchild of John Cleese, who was a member of Monty Python. It is about an innkeeper a put upon innkeeper who has a staff of lunatics. And he's
not true lunatics. Not
true lunatics. But he's this poor put upon husband who's always being nagged by his wife. And by the way, the man is damn near unhinged himself. I mean, he's hanging on by a thread anyway. And every episode involves something going wrong at the hotel or something happening at a very inopportune time that he just can't get a break. Well,
you mean like in true life?
Yes, exactly like in true life, exactly. But the fact that he's British and tries to be so prim and proper about everything, and he unravels in the way that only a British man can, adds a level of humor to it. And this show is so funny. Okay, now keep this in mind. In 2019, it was voted the best sitcom ever. And now in 2020, we're having to yank an episode down because it might offend someone. Right. And the thing that gets me, it kind of like, again, what we talked about with Blazing Saddles for sure, is that the episode uses absurdity to illustrate the absurd. I mean, it is a satire. I mean, the story involves basically a group of Germans. And again, this is the 1970s. So we're just, 25, 30 years removed from World War II.
Right.
Over in Europe, mind you. Over in Britain, the Germans were very nasty to Britain during the war. If you don't know, go look it up in your history books, assuming it hasn't been burned. But look that up and see that. Anyway, so these Germans are coming to the hotel, and he's nervous about anyone mentioning the war, bringing up the war. And, of course, Basil gets hit over the head, and he becomes very deranged and delusional. And who ends up mentioning the war more than anyone is him. He even does, if you can see the slide that we'll roll back around. He even does a walk that's very reminiscent of a guy who was very popular in Germany during the war. Didn't work out too good for him. Right. But anyway, and it's hysterical to I mean, even the Germans finally look at each other. Anyway, how the hell did they ever win? I mean, that's it. And I know this, and this is what brings me back to my hypocrisy comment, was because the BBC took it down off their streaming service because people were complaining. Mm-hmm. If you have the BritBox add-on for Amazon Prime Video here in the U.S., you can still watch it. I know that because I did it Saturday to see if it was gone. So obviously they're not too morally offended by it. Right. They just wanted to shut people up. Right. So and then we'll talk about Gone with the Wind in a minute. What do you think about? What do you think about?
It's funny, especially when you talk about that particular episode, because I don't think you've had the opportunity to, but I've recently watched Jojo Rabbit. And,
oh, really?
Yes. And I tell you right now, if you're going to put a label on that episode, this movie right here needs to be way, way labeled. I mean, like maybe every 10, 15 minutes, it probably needs this could, hurt your sensitivities and everything here. I mean, like Rebel Wilson, basically, she's playing a character that they're just expressing that the German woman, all they're there for is to basically put out German men, basically to pregnant and put them out. And I mean, just like a baby making factory. And it's just like, and it's actually a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny in some of the senses, but some of the other ones, it was like, wow, this is pretty intense. So I don't understand this labeling for all these old movies and stuff. And this is also kind of going back to where another one that we didn't really bring up was Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam. Their guns taken away this week or the last couple of weeks. It's like, what's that all about? They can't have their cartoon guns, but we got John Wick. We've got The Matrix. We've got. I'm just like,
I know.
I don't understand where we're going here with this. It's it's funny. We kind of warned that this was not such a kind of a happy episode, but but it's almost to the point. This is funny to do.
It's ridiculous,
especially when, like you said, Gone with the Wind. I mean, that is a cult classic movie. That was my grandmother's favorite movie in the world, and again, it's about the Civil War, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is. It is the highest grossing movie of all time, adjusted for inflation.
Yeah. So how do you tell a period piece like Gone with the Wind, and I guess really not be kind of, not meaning to say insulting, but show that time. It's like. We've heard a little bit about it, is that, eliminating this from our view and everything, or trying to shield us from it, to me almost is dooming us in a sense of that we don't know our history.
Exactly.
And if we don't know it, how do we prevent it from coming back around and stuff?
Absolutely. 110%. I mean,
maybe that's getting a little too deep, a little too serious.
No, it's kind of hard to talk about this. I mean, because again, we debated whether we should even talk about this since our brand is fun.
Yes.
As we said, but when you're coming after my entertainment and telling me what you're going to allow me to watch, I mean, at this point, it's like, I sure would hate for the thought police to show up at my door with my Amazon purchase list.
Yes.
Say they'd like to talk to me.
Yeah.
I mean, because I got a copy of Blazing Saddles back here.
Oh yeah, I got one as well. I don't worry. I put it in my secret vault in a box and locked it down so that basically.
Well, worse than that, son. I have a copy of Tropic Thunder over here on my desk. I mean, again, and fortunately, I'm off the Faulty Towers hook because I think Brunch and Bullets has those discs. But again, and if they're coming for Faulty Towers now, how long is it before they come after all of Monty Python?
Oh, I know. And
how long is it before they come after Blazing Saddles or the Dean Martin celebrity roasts?
Oh, I know. And again, a roast. I mean, if you've seen any of the current roasts, I mean, to me,
oh yeah,
the current roasts, yes, they're pretty good. But again, they don't have the restrictions like they used to have back in the day.
Yeah,
back when Dino and all them were doing their bits.
Yeah.
And so I think they are raunchier in the past because they found ways to get their point across, but it's always kind of with a wink and a smile. Nowadays, to me, it's like they're just blatant. They can just say what they want, and they don't have to kind of be that sneaky joke teller to drop that bomb in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and see, here's the other thing too. Like I read about HBO Max, by the way, is who holds the IP to Gone with the Wind.
Oh, okay.
And they pulled it down because of these. Again, I'm not sure how I feel about this instant kowtowing to these certain groups of people that just want to throw stuff. Because it's not everybody. And again, not that kind of podcast. Sorry about it. I'm not trying to get there. But what HBO said was they're going to leave it down for a respectful amount of time, and they'll put it up. WTF? A respectful amount of time? That's again the hypocrisy thing. We're gonna put this thing away till the mob walks by, and then we'll put it back in the window. Okay, I mean, come on, man. That tells me right there you don't really believe in their cause. You're just wanting to shut them up and have somebody move on down. Now, I'm sure all the other streaming services appreciate HBO Max taking the hit for them because they did. But one thing they did say though that I do like is they say when it goes back up at the proper time, it will be presented in its proper context. Now, I like that, and here's why. I don't know, IT Geek, we've met a broad swath of people at our trips to conventions when we used to be able to do those, when you could have more than 5 people in a room before the COVID bug.
Yep.
And we had a lot of different age groups in our panels, and I don't know anyone who wishes to go back to the good old days of Gone with the Wind, or even other eras of movie making when non-Caucasians were presented as caricatures, very badly sometimes.
Right.
But you know what though? On the other hand, I think you and I have the first generation of children that don't have a clue that there was a Disney movie called Song of the South.
Right.
And to me, I think that these films don't, they should be presented with, like you make some documentaries that like bonus content and kind of put them in perspective, illustrate how things used to be, why they were that way. But then you can show how far we come. Because like you said, if you hide our history from us, human beings should be, in the United States and humanity should be well aware of our history, even when we're ashamed of it. And we are always a work in progress, even us as individual people. And because there's things I said when I was 18 years old, I'm like, well, I'm never running for office. If somebody remembers that, unless never mind. Anyway, but here's the thing: if we don't know our history, not only are we doomed to repeat it, as you said, but we also don't realize how far we've come.
Right.
Yes, we've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But my God, if you negate the past, you negate the journey.
Exactly.
And I think this is a journey that there's no end to, especially when we're slapping content labels on things like Goonies.
I know.
Aliens.
I know. I'm like, what in the world is offensive about Goonies? And then I guess, I don't know, maybe Data is what they're talking about.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, what's supposed to be offensive of this? That I guess maybe a Chinese boy basically who builds a bunch of his own gadgets. I don't know.
Let's see here. Well, yeah, we got Bulletin Brunch in the chat. Apparently, Turtle Gal does not like some of the video. I'm not sure what video she's talking about. I don't know if it's the roll through of the movies or what. But Brunch and Bullets is watching, and someone said they want to avoid bad press, protests, lawsuits, etc. It's a sad time in classic entertainment. Yes, it is. Hello, Austin Thomas. Austin Thomas is here with us.
We got Courtney O'Connor Morris has actually joined us tonight as well. Welcome, Courtney.
Someone says, speaking of Song of the South, they are removing it from Splash Mountain. The songs are, oh my gosh. Well, and again, that's my thing is, I really do think, and here's the thing. Breakfast at Tiffany's is one of the movies that's on the list. Okay. Yeah. Mickey Rooney's portrayal of an Asian is quite offensive, but at the same time, what are we going to do with it? Unless you rotoscope in George Takei, I don't know what you do with that. So anyway, like I said in my content, these are actually just trigger warnings, and trying to pacify someone that you need to put these up for is really a losing battle. So I think we've talked about this as long as we can. Let's move on to the next piece of joyous news. Who else did we lose this week?
Well, again, wow. All right, we're just beating that bag up and everything. So, but yeah, we lost another beloved person this week, and that would be none other than Mr. Joel Schumacher.
Yes. That
was another sad. When we lose anyone, family, friends, loved ones, whatever, it's very, very hard. But you also have to. These people that have given us great performances, great films, great moments of our memories. I mean, if you think about all the movies Joel Schumacher did, Lost Boys.
That's put him on the map, dude.
It did. St. Elmo's Fire. These are iconic movies, especially someone of our age, and and the Queen and all that. These are iconic movies that will always go down in history as highlights in our teens or our 20s and stuff. And so, you just got to pay that respect when we lose someone like that to the industry.
Yeah. And he was, unfortunately, he's got a blight on his record, which we'll get to here in a moment, but he loved casting and finding young talent.
Yes.
St. Elmo's Fire, The Lost Boys. And if he found a group of actors that he liked, he kept using them. Like he used Kiefer Sutherland over and over again. He used Julia Roberts over and over again. He used Colin Farrell, much to some people's chagrin, but he's got a very wide and varied movie catalog. Who would have thought that the same person gave us St. Elmo's Fire would give us Falling Down?
Right. Wow. That's such a, heavy movie. And just kind of going through, if you see the screen, you'll see some of the movies is there. It's like that was one that was just kind of way out of the wheelhouse, I think, for what we were kind of knew him for. Like Flatliners, The Lost Boys, St. Elmo's Fire, they're always kind of the the teen packs, you know, is
Right.
what I'm saying. But like, you know, said Phone Booth and Falling Down, those are, you know, very character centric type movies, and
But they all had a very unique visual flair to them.
they did. I mean, I loved Falling Down. It was, man, it was just a phenomenal. It took me, you know, it really kind of took me like, whoa, when I first watched it.
Yeah, and in many ways, it's probably just as relevant now as when it was made.
Oh, I think even a little more relevant, if you ask me. So.
Yeah. So, hello, Jason Barker. Jason Barker's in the chat tonight.
What's up, Sprout?
The Sprout Man. You know, and something. So let's talk to. Oh, by the way, two other films that Schumacher did. He did The Client, the John Grisham book, and A Time to Kill, and. They enjoyed what he did on The Client so much they begged him to come back and do A Time to Kill. So I mean, that's just how. Again, these are a very broad spectrum of movies that he did. The two that he will probably ultimately be remembered for, besides Lost Boys, unfortunately, were Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And you know, let's talk about Batman Forever first. I don't think it's that bad of a film. It's kind of a, you know, if you watched all the bonus features on the discs, which I have, Batman Forever was really a movie that was made, or its shape was made in the editing bay, because there's a lot of more darker material that was shot for that movie that did not make it into the film. Right. Because Warner Brothers felt that Batman Returns was too dark, you know, with the Penguin and Catwoman and all that kind of stuff. So they wanted to toy it up a little bit, which they did. And
you know, when a studio like that revolves their movie production around how they can market it and make money around toys, I think they almost doom that movie's popularity.
Oh, absolutely.
They can't gear the marketing and toy distribution around the storytelling and production of a movie. I think there's just no way it works. To me, it's always better if it's organic and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, if you think of Michael Keaton's Batman and everything, and think of the toys that came out around that was just something that just, you know, just was something that just merged together so beautifully. It was just a phenomenal stroke of luck.
Absolutely, it was. But in the case of Batman Forever, it paid off. It was a financial success. Yeah. And it was not, I mean, to me, at the time it came out, it was not a reviled movie. It's not held up as well as the first two with Michael Keaton, which Fancy will be talking about Michael Keaton here shortly. However, there's a lot of good things about Batman Forever. Kiss from a Rose.
Yeah.
The U2 song, Hold Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me was in there. I mean, had a fantastic soundtrack. This was before they put nipples on the bat suit. So I you know, Nicole Kidman was great. I actually don't have a problem with Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I had a bigger problem with Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, but it's neither here nor there. And Val Kilmer's Batman is fine. I mean, he's not great, but he's fine. Right. But where the wheels came off was the movie that Joel Schumacher wishes he could forget, which was Batman and Robin.
Yeah, and I think we all wish we could kind of forget that one.
I do. But to his credit, you know, he wrote an open letter to Batman fans everywhere apologizing for it. And kind of like what you said about Batman Forever, the studio really went all in then. They were like, man, we want to tour this thing up. That's why you have 15 villains in it, each with their own vehicles.
Oh, Bane was horrible in that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Their representation of Bane was just, I mean, if anyone's watching the Harley Quinn series, if you watch DC stream, the one where Kaylee Cuoco's doing the voice and stuff like that, I mean, literally, the Bane looks better in that cartoon than the Bane did in this movie. And
easily 100.
It's crazy.
And Schumacher even said, you know, the movie that he made was not the movie he would have personally liked to make, but that's what the studio wanted, and he went for it. You know, they told him to do this, but at the same time, you know, he owned it. He said, you know, I've never been afraid to fight for more money, or you know, bigger budgets or parts of a script that I liked. And he said, I didn't fight for it. I went for it. So he said, ultimately, he took responsibility for it, even though he felt like, you know, he's always said that, or had said that his choice would have been to adapt Batman Year One. You know,
that'd have been great.
Yeah, which we kind of got that with The Dark Knight, but or not the Dark Knight, Batman Begins, but
correct.
But
yeah.
Not like Schumacher. I don't think it had the visual flair that Schumacher could have brought to it. But
no, and it's also one of those. So if you ever got to see the animated version of Batman Year One, is also phenomenal. We've always said that it seems like the DC universe has always done great at their animated storytelling, movies and stuff, and not so much with their live action.
Exactly.
I think we've had some great hits with Wonder Woman. We've had Aquaman, Shazam, and I think this is a great way that we kind of segue into possibly their best opportunity of riding the ship here, and that is no other than Michael Keaton's return as the Batman in the Flashpoint movie. Man, Now
I want to stress to everybody, this is not a done deal. He's in negotiations. If it leaks, here's my thing. If it leaks, it's pretty damn close. They're finalizing up how much the action figure is going to look like him.
I agree. I mean, man, I tell you, I don't think there's anything that would make fans more happy than seeing Michael Keaton return to this role. I just, wow. It almost leaves me at a loss of words, which I know you'll cure that here in just a moment.
Well, the ironic thing is, I remember back in 1989, a couple of guys driving to a midnight sneak of the original Batman going, man, I hope Michael Keaton don't screw this up.
I mean, because we're thinking Mr. Mom, gung ho.
I know.
I mean,
and by the way, Vicky Lynn Burke is watching. Hi, Vicky.
Vicky.
But here's the thing. Michael Keaton to the Batman franchise is what Sean Connery was to the Bond franchise. He was Bond. I mean, Michael Keaton is the only Batman who doesn't have a nickname like Batfleck or Bat. No, he's Batman. Him and Adam West are Batman. That's the only two actors that are just Batman. And it was a darn shame that he didn't come back for Batman Forever. But I think that, I've heard a lot of things about this. I think that it would be, now don't get, I'm going to go out on the rumor mill here for a minute. I don't care how much they've talked about in the press about it not being it. I think the Flash movie, given that they're talking about this, about bringing Michael Keaton back, I think the Flash movie is going to use some version of the Flashpoint paradox plotline to reset the DCEU.
Oh yes, I agree 100% on that. I mean, it's actually brilliant to do that point, as we saw they did in the CW series, is that they easily created their own version of Flashpoint, and they changed certain elements of most of everyone's story in the whole Arrowverse, and it basically, they didn't really have to write a ship there, but like I said, I think this is a great opportunity here where basically Michael Keaton coming in, using Flashpoint to maybe reset a certain elements of the DC universe and bring it back on course.
Right. And then which also leads into another story that's been rumored today, which also could play into this whole contract negotiation thing, is apparently HBO Max, which is the same streaming service that yanked down Gone with the Wind, I might add, till a respectful amount of time has passed. But they're also the ones paying for the Snyder Cut, or Zack Snyder's Justice League, as it's now being called.
Right.
But they are in talks. Apparently, they want to do a Batman Beyond show with Michael Keaton as well. Now, how do you feel about that?
That's brilliant casting. I mean, they couldn't have asked for a better timing. I mean, Michael Keaton, not that he's old and dilapidated or anything like that, but I think he's definitely at an age now that it would be an easy sell into an aged Bruce Wayne. You get a young actor to come in that can easily fill the Batman Beyond suit and become the next protege, the next Batman. I couldn't be more excited of a team up like that. It's the opportunity where DC really has a golden ticket to really bring in some DC fans and maybe even steal away a few Marvel fans if they do it right. And I think Michael Keaton, I mean, we had Adam West, we had Christopher Reeves, we've had these other actors who's kicked off kind of this superhero genre, but I think, if you really think back over the time, I think Michael Keaton is probably one of the main staples that really is what cemented the foundation of the superhero movies.
Absolutely, and he proved to be well. And now that I can't really say about Adam West because he really didn't get the opportunity to do it very often. But Michael Keaton proved to me and to a lot of other people that casting Batman is not the key. Casting Bruce Wayne is the key to a good Batman, because once you put the suit on, the suit does all the work. Right. I mean, especially that suit because it's ripped and everything. But exactly.
You got to sell Bruce Wayne when it comes to Batman, and that was one of the things I really liked about the two first Batman movie that Michael Keaton wins, is that you actually got to see Bruce Wayne do a lot of his detective skills and his chemical, basically his scientists. And he didn't really rely on like Lucius and stuff like that in those movies. We also saw a little bit of his hacking skills when he took over Penguin's like mayoral speech. And everything.
I forgot about that.
So there's just great elements where, true, he's being Batman, but he's doing it in his Bruce Wayne persona in the suit and everything, just sitting in the Batcave. And you could see him being Batman, but you knew that this was Bruce just doing his job. And there were just certain elements that I thought Michael Keaton definitely identified and latched onto for Bruce Wayne. I still have to kind of throw just honorable mention that when we talk about kind of Bruce Wayne, is that the person that in my book has always been the best Bruce Wayne is actually Kevin Conroy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So he's actually the longest running Batman. But he's just been the voice of Batman in a lot of the animated series, a lot of the movies.
Right.
And what a lot of fans always bring up is the fact that his voice acting, you knew when he was Bruce, you knew when he was Batman. But I digress. We're getting off what the main topic is. It's just that bringing back the grandfather of the whole superhero thing, superhero movies of Michael Keaton back to his iconic role is just sheer joy for me. I mean,
this was I can imagine this is what it felt like in 1985 when they heard Sean Connery was going to play Bond again.
Yes.
I mean, I can just imagine that's how I feel about it. It's like, wow, this is really going to happen, because I piggybacking on what we said about them using this as a DCEU reset and using Flashpoint, I wonder if that means that Bat-Pat's movie is going to be kind of like Joker, like it's just going to kind of be its own thing, like sitting out there on the side, that and they're going to make Michael Keaton's Batman for the DCEU, or hey, and I just had this thought as we're sitting here talking, is Bat-Pat hearing Michael Keaton in his cowl,
Well,
you think they'd go that route? You think they'd do that?
Because the way I understand what Bat-Pat is, it's more along the lines of year one. So I think if you look at the suits and stuff like that, it's just too it looks a little too aged in the sense that it looks very kind of almost armored in a sense, and not like what I'm saying with Christian Bale, but padded and stuff to kind of identify more of a timepiece suit. To a little bulkier and stuff. So, especially with some of the cars and stuff. If they were going to do Batman Beyond, you've got to have kind of the bat plane type, cycle stuff going through it. And I just don't see it in what I've seen in of Rob Pattinson's Batman stuff. So, I think what we will see is that, when Ezra Miller came back and, was interacting with Ben Affleck's Batman and stuff like that. If I remember, I'm trying to remember the actual phrase, and he's like, I didn't come back far enough or something.
I'm too soon.
Or something like that. What they could easily do is that, since this Flashpoint paradox, who's to say that he also didn't jump into another multiverse? We have the multiverse crossover on the Arrowverse and stuff. Who's to say that this Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, is just not in another multiverse, and they do cross-versing storytelling and stuff? I think that's where we'll see Bat-Pat. His story will be in one universe, and who's know? Maybe they build it up as another Infinite Crisis Earth, like they did in the Arrowverse, and they just tell a storyline around that as well.
Right.
If they do the storytelling right, it could be just as good as possibly Infinity War and Endgame.
Well, and and that's what we've always said about the DC movies, specifically the movies, is that it's not the talent. I mean, every actor they've cast pretty much has been spot on. It's in their execution. I mean, so if they somehow create this Infinite Crisis thing where you've got the Michael Keaton Batman and the Ben Affleck Batman and the now Bat and even even Christian Bale. I mean, and then you've got Superman and all the different iterations, because we know. I think they started setting this up. I don't know how many people know this, but are you aware that the Ezra Miller Flash and the Grant Gustin Flash met each other?
Yes, they did. They met on the I heard about that, and I have not gotten to that point. They've just now released all the episodes. Sadly, like I said, I missed some of the episodes, so my DVR crapped out, and basically I lost some.
That's criminal.
So it's criminal, and so I've had to wait until they got released to Netflix, is where pretty much all the seasons are now. So I need to go back and start watching that and get caught up so that I can actually watch Infinite Crisis and get through that storyline. I've also, I ain't gonna lie, I've probably been a little hesitant because I just wasn't ready to see Stephen Amell exit the Arrowverse as Green Arrow. I mean, man, he really brought that role to a head, and I mean, so excited about that. But I mean, so I don't see why we couldn't do a larger movie scale using the Flashpoint paradox to kind of go into this Infinite Crisis, because there's been plenty of versions of that in the comic books of Infinite Crisis and everything, and then there's been the reset of 52 in the DC, and so there's plenty of opportunities that this can easily spin off into a larger storytelling, which I think DC could use that restart, that kickstart, to kind of tell a story like Marvel did and build into it and everything. So
try to make up for their past sins, if you will.
Right. Because in the past, I thought in my opinion, they were trying to rush through everything to get to that Infinity War Endgame to match Marvel, and I think they're rushing basically just to not afford them great storytelling.
No, absolutely.
Jay Pyatt joined us in the room. Welcome, Jay.
Hey, how you doing there, Jay? So we've basically I guess the short story is a little too late at this point that we are jazzed at the fact that we may be seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again.
That's right. In case you did not pick up on that, yes, as a Fanboys 918, IT Geek here is very excited on seeing Michael Keaton's possibility of coming back as Bruce Wayne / Batman.
I'm Geek Boy, and I approve this message.
So I guess really that's, man. What else we got to talk about? I guess
I think we pretty much nailed it all. Unless there's anything that's just kind of percolated up that comes to mind that you want to speak about.
Oh, Eli just joined us just in time for us apparently to be wrapping it up. Welcome, Eli.
Yeah.
So we always have to say thanks to everyone who tunes in every night and watches us and stuff like that. I know you probably have better things to do with your evening other than sit and listen to these wise guys here, and really appreciate everyone tuning in.
Well, there's at least 5 or 6 people that don't, because they're in the chat room right now.
Well, exactly. And, the 2 of those people are probably only watching because they're our wives and everything.
True that.
We appreciate you, ladies.
Yeah.
So
having said that, I think we're going to thank everybody for tuning in. We do not know for sure if there'll be a show next week. That'll be the day before the 4th of July, but we'll figure it out.
Actually, it'll be 2 days before 4th of July.
Well, yeah, it'll be the day. Well, it'll be the day before all the work. Everybody's most people are usually off work the day before, so people will be going to the lake and whatnot, be out of town. But
someone in our group does not have Friday the 3rd off.
I think there's a second someone in our group that doesn't have Friday the 3rd off, who would not be me.
You're right. I don't care. I don't have that day off, so I'm staying.
I get that day off as well. Of course, I'm working from home, so do I have the day off? I don't know. I mean, are we closed? Maybe. I'm not really sure yet.
Just roll with it, If you log into work and say, "Hey, are you there?" and no one responds, just log off and go.
Yeah, just log off and go on about your business. So
exactly.
But I think we've talked about, if we do have a show, it's going to be a retrospective on some of our favorite 4th of July movies.
Yes.
Or we may do something even different than that. I don't know, but Never know. We'll see what happens. John Burke has joined us again. All these people are tuning in just in time for us to get off the air. They're like, they tuned in. Are they done yet?
I know. That's what they're looking at. It's like, the guy's off the internet. Damn.
Leave it to Fanboys 918 to cram 15 minutes of entertainment into 45.
I know. It's like, you guys are talking about everything you already posted this week that I read in an article in less than 3 minutes. How did you get 45 minutes of content out of that? That's just how bad we are.
Yeah. 45 minutes out of 5 3-minute reads.
Exactly. So,
all right, IT Geek.
Hang on a second before. So again, we're going to plug it. Remember to keep watching our Saturday night episodes from Goldar of our Night Crawlers episodes. Hope everyone's enjoying that. We still got a few more, elements in the fire that we're trying to get cooked up and for more content. And again, if you like what we're doing here, keep following us, keep sharing us. Also, if you wouldn't mind popping over to our YouTube channel, like us there, follow us there. I know it's the same stuff that you already seen here, but heck, why not? But anyway,
you turned me into Ed McMahon. Listen to me.
All right. Anyway, so again, I appreciate. Again, I know I speak for the whole group. We really appreciate you guys tuning in with us every night on these Thursday nights. I know you have better things that you could possibly be doing. And we love your interaction. We love you attending, and we just love and appreciate everyone that's following us and adding great comments and content to the page. And can't appreciate you guys enough.
That's right. Thank you, IT Geek. I think you pretty much said it all. So for the IT Geek, I'm Geek Boy from the Fan Cave signing off.